Welcome to another squat day video where you will see my lower body training session, and as per usual you will hear me do a voiceover and sort of document my training so that you could see exactly what I do and give you some helpful tips throughout this training video that you will see that could help you when you do your training session, and take away some cues and tips that you could apply to optimize and maximize your training session. And starting off with doing some mobility drill warm-ups. If you want to see the entire warm-up with the full voiceover tutorial, I will have the links in the description below. But anyway, starting off with some front foot elevated split squat. It's highly elevated because I am also working on the other leg that is on the floor to open up the hips, so both legs are working. So this is done before I do my squats. Always, this helps with the mobility at the ankle and hip joint. As you could see, when you are squatting, you want to make sure that you have a good range of motion, reaching the depth, and by reaching the range of motion is to get that ankle joint, as you could see, in its most flexed position. We want to also make sure that your whole foot is planted and that your heels don't come up, so that you have that ankle flexion at that ankle joint to allow for depth. I have the kettlebell on top of the knee just to give some resistance and to add that sort of pressure in pushing those knees past that toes. There's nothing wrong with that, in pushing your knees past your toes, as long as you are maintaining somewhat of an upright torso. And as you could see, I'm really working on pushing those knees past, and keeping the front foot grounded on the floor, because when you do a squat, this is sort of the movement that you are in essentially, and this is just priming both sides, each side, so that it prepares you for your actual squat. And as you could see, you want to work on mobility. Ideal warm-ups, rather than going on the treadmill to do a 5-minute warm-ups of the joints, you want to think of your warm-ups as priming your body for the movement pattern that you are about to do. So this is my second warm-up mobility, where I am doing some tempo. So tempo basically means the rhythm or the pace that you are going down, and as you could see, I'm going down in this squat, a deep squat, very slowly. This way it really gives you the opportunity to connect your mind to the muscle and priming your body for before you do a squat. So you want to imitate the movement before the actual movement, which is the squat, which is really important. You're training your mind, you're training your body to be in that position later on. So it's good to do warm-ups, do these deep squat warm-ups, and having that kettlebell or even a barbell or plate or any loaded weight in front of you to give that added resistance. And you want to be able to keep that upright torso. As you could see, you would want to aim to do about 2 to 3 of these really intentional. So with the warm-ups, you are not doing it just for the sake of doing it. You are being intentional from the get-go. As soon as if you want to lift heavy weights or any kind of weights as safely as possible, intention is everything. Even at the warm-up, I'm being intentional so that this really primes my body to effectively and safely squat later on. And just pushing the knees out in this deep squat position, and as I am sinking into this position here, you are staying here for about 5 seconds just to really get the joints in that deep squat position where you actually do the deep squat. And warm-ups doesn't have to take super long. It really depends on how you feel. Everyone will be different. I'm just sharing what works for me. Sometimes my warm-ups are a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit less. It really depends on how you feel. And if you need to do more warm-ups, then do more warm-ups. If you feel like you're ready to go and get straight into your warm-up sets, then by all means go for it. There's no right or wrong. Try and figure out how you feel at the time. Obviously, go and do trial and error. I have trialed for very long warm-ups and short warm-ups, and you just got to find your sweet spot to warm you up effectively, because you don't want to tire yourself out too soon before you do your squats. You want to make sure that there's that happy medium where you are able to effectively squat safely and to have the energy towards your actual squat, because there's also the warm-up sets as well. Okay, so over here I am doing straight into the zombie squats. If you've seen my previous training squat videos, then you'll see it's the exact same process. Everything is very similar. Being intentional. So starting off with some zombie squats, because the zombie squat, so this is basically zombie squats, or you could call it front squats. The difference between zombie and front squat is that zombie is your hands are out right in front of you, whereas front squats, you have your hands sort of rested on the barbell to keep the barbell stable on the front of your shoulders. The reason behind doing the front squats or zombie squats is to keep an upright torso, because the barbell, the weight is on your front, and it just ensures that your chest is upright, your torso is more upright, and your core is forced to switch on. You get more core engagement when you do a front squat. So the intention behind doing a couple of front squats or zombie squats is to prime the core and priming my body to keep that upright torso. You don't have to do it, but I have just been doing it, and it's just what helps me effectively do my actual working sets when I get there. Starting off with my first working set here, which is a barbell back squat, obviously. And as you could see, you need to be intentional. I say this all the time, and I encourage you that when you do squats or any kind of exercises that you do, you have to be intentional. As soon as you touch the barbell, the game is on. Being intentional also means, visualizing the form and technique, and connecting that mind to that muscle, no matter what is on the barbell, the weight, because every single rep that you do, regardless of the weight, is an opportunity for you to connect your mind to your muscles. It's an opportunity for you to visualize the form and technique. The more opportunities that you get to practice that form and technique by visualization and applying it, regardless of the weight of the barbell that's on your back, the higher the chances that you will get more practice out of it, you will get more out of the actual set itself, so that every time you do this, like, you are building upon that skill, and it becomes a habit each time. Because for me to effectively squat heavy weights is just through this practice of connecting that mind to that muscle. You get an opportunity every single time you do a rep, regardless of the weight. By now, this is 80 kilos, I believe, and it would be my third working set. And again, just being intentional, but not to a point where you fatigue yourself so quickly, which is not what you want. With the warm-up sets, you want to warm up your body for when you do your working sets, and also not to make sure that you're not overkilling it, because if you overkill it, then it could impact on your actual working set. I've trialed different warm-up sets. I sort of know my sweet spot that can help me do my working set. So find out your sweet spot, what works for you. Generally speaking, the more weight that you could squat, then the more warm-up sets. But each warm-up sets, it really depends. Maybe it's 3 reps, maybe it's 4 reps, maybe it's 5 reps. And usually towards the closer to the working sets, then those reps do decrease. Here is sort of my final warm-up set. So this is warm-up set at 90. I am guessing that I'm doing about 2 to 3 reps here. And as you could see, it's again being intentional. I've already got the belt and knee sleeves on, so the working set is the next one. And again, being intentional, taking your time, practicing all the good form and technique, from taking a massive breath in and making sure that you're pushing your knees out as you come down, and making sure that you're keeping that upright torso. And I believe, so this is 90. And I also do want to mention that you would notice here right now, so this is the working set, you are taking your time. There is no rush to do a squat. Often the common, I wouldn't say mistake, but what I often see is people rush into their working sets or even warm-up sets. Here, this is not sped up in any way. As soon as you touch the barbell, we're taking your time. You are putting a heavy load on your back. You want to be intentional. You want to visualize the form and technique. You have no room for any kind of self-doubt. You are saying to yourself, which is what I'm saying, that I'm going to squat this number of reps and I'm going to kill it. There's no room for any kind of self-doubt, because as soon as there's self-doubt, then the chances are you're not going to be able to execute the entire set. And again, because of all of the warm-up sets leading up to this working set at 100, it is why I'm able to do this set at 100 kgs. So with that being said, it's important to be intentional. I sound like a broken record, but I don't care, because I want you to be able to lift and squat as safely as possible in order to get to your results and gains. So this is the second set at 100 kgs. For me, 100 kgs kgs is kilograms, is sort of where my working set sits at. And as you could see, I'm being intentional, keeping that upper back tightness, as you could see, keeping allowing the hands placement to allow my shoulder mobility to come close, to keep that tightness so the barbell sits snug on that back. A massive breath in, and practicing that, visualizing good form and technique. And I'm taking my time each rep, that is. And again, even at the top, you want to sort of, as soon as I get to the top, you want to sort of settle the bar and then repeat. With any kind of heavy lifting, you want to make sure that you take your time. There's no rush into it, and you got to visualize. The best thing that I could give you is to visualize. And you have to be, I know this sounds corny, and everyone probably says this, but you have to really be your biggest hype woman. I could tell you that every single set that I do, especially working up to my working sets, I never think, I don't know if I could do this. That has not even come to my mind at all. You have to have full confidence within yourself. And this is why I love lifting heavy, and I encourage more and more people, especially women, to lift heavy, because it challenges your mindset. It challenges you to push you outside your comfort zone. It forces you to become your biggest cheerleader. There's no room for self-doubt. And I feel confident as hell when I have this. And this is why I love it, because I force myself. I tell myself that I am strong. I can freaking lift this heavy weight on my back. And it's such a satisfying feeling, especially when you are able to squat a heavy weight. This is my second set of my working set at 110. And again, as you could see from the get-go, everything is just taking my time, and there's no room for self-doubt. I am saying to myself, I'm gonna squat this. I'm a strong woman. Visualization, mindset is everything as soon as you touch the bar. And here I really wanted to put this in, because that was when I did one rep. I knew that I couldn't do any more, so it's also important to train smart, and that's all I could do, and then I was good with that. Moving on to the next exercise in my squat day training session are walking lunges. I absolutely love walking lunges. I could say that it's probably more challenging than the squat itself because you are working on so many things when you do walking lunges. I would suggest that if you are a straight beginner, then start off with some dumbbells. I am doing it with a barbell because I am able to load more on my back, because when I do the dumbbells, there's just so much that I could handle, and it's heavy with my hands. So I could load a heavier load doing a barbell back squat. A barbell walking lunge. It is just as challenging. So please start off with walking with dumbbells first. And again, I just want to remind you all that even though I'm showing you all of this, I don't expect you to copy me, but this is more of just documenting and sharing my training session in order to, either inspire you, motivate you to get into the gym. And as always, I suggest you to get expert guidance in form and technique, because that is absolute key. And just please bear in mind, I have been training for a very long time to get to this level that's enabled me to squat and do these walking lunges. You definitely can. It's just a matter of time and practice and good form and technique. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, which is what I am, a women's health and fitness coach. I do help women get strong under a bar. No matter if you are a straight beginner, you've had some time in the gym and you want to get strong and you want to build muscle, then I am your girl, because I am so passionate in helping women get strong, not just for the physique, but also for mindset, because I truly believe that weight training goes far beyond just achieving a physical change and getting strong. Getting strong feels good, but it really is about the mindset as well. So over here, this is the second set of the walking lunges. As you could see, the gym is pretty quiet and I am able to do this on an open gym floor. I rarely ever go during peak times because there's a lot of people and I would not be able to do that. So make sure that you are being mindful of other people's space in the gym and being respectful of others as well. Okay, the third exercise I'm doing here is obviously the hip thrusts. As you could see, this isolates the glutes. So this is working specifically on the glutes in hip extension. So at the top here, as you could see, you are fully locking out the hips and the glutes are in its shortened position, which is the opposite of when you do a lunge or a squat, because at the bottom of the squat, your glutes are in its most lengthened position, and this is the opposite. So this is in its shortened position. This is the other angle here. And by now, those squats, when you do barbell back squats, they are a high demanding exercise, and it's important to do that first in the training because you will fatigue. So this is why I'm leaving the hip thrust to the third exercise. And again, you want to make sure that you keep your back flat. A common mistake that I see is that when women hip thrust up, they tend to arch their back because they push it right up, but you want to make sure that you're squeezing the glutes at the top and keeping that back flat, so that you aren't feeling it in your lower back. So this is already really challenging, as you could see through my facial expression. That was my second set. Moving on to the next exercise, which is the lying leg curl. A big takeaway for this is to always make sure that your hips are locked down. Your hips tend to come up, especially as your heels go away, but make sure your hips are locked as much as possible. This way you are isolating and targeting those hamstrings much better. And just if you find that your hips are lifting up, then please lower the weight. And it's okay to lower the weights, but making sure that you are connecting your mind to those hamstring muscle. Okay, the final exercise here is the leg extension, which is isolating the quads. As you could see, you are leaving the isolated exercise or finishes towards the end of the training session, and by now I am super fatigued from the big session that I have had. I hope that you enjoyed the squat day lower body training session and that you are able to take away the cues and the tips shared in the voiceovers throughout this video to your very own training. And please don't forget to check out the free guides for training. There's one for glutes training specifically, there's one for a beginner's guide if you are a straight beginner. Links are in the description box. It is completely free to download, so go check them out. If you want to see more of these training videos with voiceovers, don't forget to like and subscribe or leave a comment. Lastly, I just want to remind you that your mind is your most powerful asset and that you could do anything you put your mind to. I am sending you so much love and I will see you in the next video. Bye.